you have a service-based business, whether that is hiring someone to outsource the work, you're doing the work yourself, you have a software doing the work. That's where the world is really going. Software is what you're selling, and you're giving your clients a service through that, providing them value through these programs, whether that's AI, whether that's simply automating something, whether that's a tool itself. You really need to know this one thing, and that one thing is really going to help differentiate you from the businesses that fail and businesses that succeed, and that is to truly care about your customers. I cannot emphasize this enough. I found that I only really started succeeding when I developed relationships with my customers, stopped seeing them as money bags that I needed to leverage and take from, and more as actual people. Even when I hire people myself, I've hired video editors and copywriters, I hire ones that I had a good relationship with at the end of the day. My first few clients freelance ever were my friends, and they continued to buy from me over and over again because they were my friends. And then when I did start getting people that didn't really know me, one of my highest paying clients, I made the mistake of treating them like a money sack subconsciously. I tried to provide my best service, but they still weren't happy. I talked to them too formally, and I kept things not as I should have. I wasn't my true self to them, and that caused me to lose the client in the end. And then this really set in for me when I was hiring a video editor. I tended to go for the video editor that was just texting me back and forth as if we're buddies, we've known each other for years, even though I just met the guy. Rather than this other guy who he's like, oh, I have great work, and he acted like he was this big, large agency thing. And that honestly turned me off, first off, because I was like, I don't have the budget to support 5 people's incomes here. I don't need a whole agency. I just need one video editor. And he was like, oh, actually, we're in your budget. And he kept saying words like us and our team. And I'm like, dude, no, I just want a video editor. And he didn't talk to me like a person. He talked to me like a money sack. And even when I was trying to get a trial from him, I was like, hey, bro, like, what's happening here? There wasn't good communication. He didn't treat me like a friend. And I told the person who referred him, I was like, yo, like, this guy makes you look bad. Like, that now is on my friend. I was like, why'd you recommend me this total doofus, you know? So, like, one thing people don't realize is when you're first starting an agency, freelancing, or anything, like, treat everyone like your friend, and you'll reap the rewards of that, you know? Simply that. Like, even now I get hired by bigger agencies to do work for them, and I get on the call, first thing I do is give them a compliment, all right? And I make sure it eases attention, say something funny, and then we can get into things. You know, I don't want to waste their time, they don't want to waste mine, so we do just make it as quick as possible, but it just gives that relationship there, and they're more likely to come to me again for projects if I have a good relationship with them. I know their names by hand. I don't have to like go on some sheet and memorize them. And they honestly just want someone who feels like part of their team, but they don't have to put on a payroll. That's why they hire me, and I try to embody that. That's what I like to do wherever I go, whenever I help out other businesses, is I really try to think, all right, they're hiring me not as a contractor, and I'm not only going to be here working on a project for a week or a month or so. I am someone in their sphere now. I'm someone who is behind the mission of the brand. I only help brands that I truly think help people and for the future. So I don't pick up random e-commerce brands. I pick up e-commerce brands that I think have a good mission behind them sometimes and aren't just selling you total nothing. Or I mostly go to brands that are educational. Like, that's honestly a lot of my client base is educational or tech companies. and I think these truly better society, and therefore I'm behind it, and then I get to develop a relationship with them. That's also a huge thing, is once I develop a relationship with them, I can know their pain points, I can know what they're really trying to solve. Sometimes I'm quite honest with them and I'm like, what I provide won't solve your problem, but I can refer you somewhere else, or I'll give you a solution that isn't in the best financial interest for me, but best for you as a whole, as a company, to speed things up. One company that I went to, they kept asking me for different decks and whatnot to make them presentations, and I was like, hey, this isn't financially viable for you. This is really great for me because I'm making more money, but I'm going to charge you a one large fee for one template that you can use across all your channels. And that way you can speed things up. You don't have to wait 2 weeks when you want to get a simple pitch deck going. You can have the copy and just put it in some Canva template that I made for you. Simple as that. That's like really why having your client's best interests will help them, is they'll be like, oh shoot, and then they will come to me for other things now because they know I'm not just trying to get as much money as possible from them, that I really enjoy the work that I do and I enjoy working with them specifically. You know, develop these relationships. Like, when you know their weak points, you know how to solve that, and you can charge higher then. I could even have charged higher for those pitch decks, or not the pitch decks, the templates, than I already did. I just chose to charge what I wanted to charge and went with that. And now they have an evergreen format that they can use. This applies to all sorts of businesses, not just design or copy or freelance. Like software business, you know what features to add and not add when you know your customers super, super, super well. Developing those relationships will get to know them well. And then also, even beyond that, you have to do research. All right? You can't just be like, all right, I'm going to turn on my work brain when I'm actually talking to the client or providing the service, and turn it off for the rest of the day. No. Especially if you're building, if you're just a startup, especially startup tech businesses, you should, whenever you're not working on the project yourself, you are working with the people yourself or looking into the people yourself that you want to target. You are watching as much content that these people would have watched as possible. You are living their lives. You're basically in their shoes. Whenever you're not in the shoes of a service provider, you're in the shoes of your client. That way, when you do go back to the shoes of your service provider, you know, all right, I can think like the client does now, and I can provide what I need to provide and add the features I want to add. A lot of people, that's why you have these all-in-one programs that don't make any money, is because they try to be everything for everyone, when in fact, they don't target one specific person. When they do have a person in mind they want to target, but they think there's more money in being everything for everyone. No, you're better off niching down, choosing one small service that you provide and going for it. Like me, I do graphic web design. If you hire me for a project and you also need copy with that, I will get my copywriter on that for you. And then that will be put into the fee. But otherwise, that's all I do. And if it's out of my realm, like, I've chosen to cut off social media content creation. I can do strategies for you, but I've chosen that's just not my realm. And that's not what I provide. Simple as that. If you want a one-time thing for social media, sure, I'll do that. But I won't do any more 3 months worth of content. I just found that was unfulfilling for me, and it wasn't where I truly wanted to put my interests. So now I focus on more high-ticket, one-time projects. And at the end of the day, it isn't good for my bank account. Social media is where the money's at because it's reoccurring. You have to manage these things every single month. But I found I just feel like I'm providing something better to the world with a higher quality product rather than some product that's going to live on a screen for 2 seconds and then disappear into the social media abyss. And I found a lot of the clients that I want to work with want that too. I really wanted to work with tech companies, and most tech companies don't have a big social media presence, quite honestly. Like, I think Apple, Google might have some followers, Instagram has followers, of course, Facebook might have some followers itself, but like most of your tech startups don't have followers, and that's who I've been called to help, really. And they don't want these things. I can take some photos for them that they can put on their Instagram, but I will take the photos and they can do whatever they want with them. I can make them Instagram worthy, but that isn't what I really provide, you know? And I found that the more I learn about these tech companies, these tech startups, the more I know exactly what to provide to them. And that's web design, that's UI design, that's graphic design, overall brand guidelines, especially brand guidelines for these tech startups, because a lot of them are focused so much on the software itself and the technical use that they forget about the visual aspect, and that's why I create these big brand identities for them. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Feel free to look at this video right here. It's all about what it really takes to make your software business profitable, and I hope you have an epic day.